Oh, people, I had been waiting for this for so long. For so long. Yes, 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 people. I have just finished A Little Hatred. Little Hatred. For those that know, it is book one of An Age of Madness by Joe Abercrombie. And like a lot of Abercrombie stuff, it is read by the great Stephen Pacey. So, yeah, this is the start of a new trilogy. Like all the others, set in the first law world. And yeah, when this book dropped, I was like, ooh, okay, all right. Because it came out 2019. But you know what I mean? I always want to wait until something is finished. So as book three was just about to drop, I was like, you know what? It's been a long ass time. So I went back and redid all the books, which I think this might be the third time. Right? Great books. Still thoroughly enjoyed them. Thoroughly enjoyed them. But yeah, it was a good thing, I feel, because it just kind of reestablished a few. I'd forgotten a lot of stuff. Forgotten a lot of stuff. So yeah, very excited to get back into that world and see what happens, right? Because like with all the new books that came, I think some books it was a pretty, I'd say the timeline is smaller, right? In between. But some books, there is a significant time jump, right? Sometimes we still have familiar characters, but at different stages of their life. So it's always interesting. It makes sense. And it's always curious to see where the characters are at this point. So, yeah, that was the thing. And I just remember reading the synopsis and thinking, oh, okay. So, man, we've got some real changes here. And so this is book one, right? The chimneys of industry rise over Adua, and the world seethes with new opportunities, but old scores run deep as ever. On the blood-soaked borders of England, Leo Dan Brooke struggles to win fame on the battlefield and defeat the marauding armies of Stour Nightfall, who hopes to help. He hopes for help from the crown, but King Giselle's son, the feckless Prince also, is a man who specializes in disappointments. Savine Dan Galocta, socialite, investor, and daughter of the most feared man in the Union, plans to claw her way to the top of the slag heap of society by any means necessary. But the slums boil over with a rage that all the money in the world cannot control. The age of machine dawns, but the age of magic refuses to die. With the help of the mad hill woman Izern Il Fali, Rika struggles to control the blessing or the curse of the long eye. Glimpsing the future is one thing, but with the guiding hand of the first of the Magi still pulling the strings, changing it will be quite another. So, as you can see from that, right, there are not familiar characters, but links to, right? Links to, like Leo Van Broek, we were dealing with his dad. I forget his first name, right? Who was in the first trilogy. We've got Ricky, who is the Dogman's daughter, right? Isern, Hey, she's the daughter of the crazy hillman, you know what I mean? Who was all singing, and Logan had situations with in the first trilogy, and then some of the standalone books, right? Savine Van Glocter, hey, we know that, right? Prince also. So we got relatives of some of our favorite characters from the first one. So, but it was just like, oh, how will this sit? You know what I mean? Like, am I going to gel with this? You know, and the thing is, right, with all the books that we've had so far in this world, it's all been compelling. There's not been characters that you're like, ugh, I don't like that character, or man, that character doesn't live up to, you know, the things we've seen. But hey, you wonder though, you wonder, like, will this coalesce? Am I going to enjoy this as much? And fuck, people, whoo, this was great. I really enjoyed this book. I really did. Like, it all makes sense. The introduction of these new characters, Abercrombie does it in such a great way. It just seems effortless, you know? And this whole thing of changing that setting, right? Of bringing it into the industrial age. Oh man, it works so well, right? Because I remember I read I think it's Brandon Sanderson's Mistborn books. I think he was the Mistborn. I may be wrong. I may be wrong, people. But yeah, I can't quite remember. I think it was him. Um, yeah, it was Brandon Sanderson, right? And he did the something alloy book, right? There was the first trilogy, and then there was this something forget what it was called, but that was the book where, you know, again, they were, it was coming into the industrial age, but it all felt a little, for me, because I know those books are mad popular, but I didn't enjoy it as much as I did the original trilogy, you know. And even the original trilogy kind of it didn't feel as consistent for me, right? But this, with this industrial age and the introduction of things like trains and, you know, all manner of things, and you get little hints of things like cars and stuff like that, it works so well because it doesn't feel like he's trying to shoehorn the story into this thing, right? Be like, oh, I need to I need to do this, so I'm gonna no. It just has this natural flow. Has this natural flow. It works very well with the story and the characters, which was a charm. Was a charm, people. And then you have just the motivations and everything like that. You know, like Abercrombie, he has this way with characters, right? So you have characters who have this untapped potential or think a little bit too highly of themselves, right? A little sarcastic, a little dour, right? Serious, but it all feels right. It doesn't feel like, oh man, this is a bit forced, or this character feels like that character. No, everyone feels unique to themselves. Feels unique to themselves. And it works. And even when we meet old characters, there are a few old characters that show up, people. I'm not gonna tell you who. You gotta read it and enjoy it. But when they turn up, yes, they feel like, he's back, she's back. But then there is also the wear and tear of that character, right? We see that. We see how they changed with all the events, the new knowledge, and all of this, right? So we see viewpoints and opinions have kind of shifted slightly at times, right? But again, you're like, yeah, of course it would. Especially after happened and blah blah blah. You know what I mean? So it's just like, okay, that's good. It's good. And then we see all of these events, right? So the fighting in England and just everything. So it's a lot of the stuff is stuff that was kind of inevitable from the previous books. Some stuff you're like, oh, huh, that's interesting that it's gone in that direction. But yeah, everything was gripping, right? There was no point in the book where I was just like, oh, yeah, bored. I'm bored of this, right? Or okay, well, I mean, that wasn't as compelling as, no, it's all there. It is all there. It's all very enjoyable. And you like to see these character arcs, right? Even with stuff like the Long Eye, right? Which is it's one of those things that you're just like, if someone can see the future, that means there's no surprises or things are just going to go in a certain way. But no, there are downsides to everything. And then there's things that aren't as clear. And so it works very well. And even though something is kind of seen, it might not always go to plan. Right. So we have all of this. Uh, there was definitely some moments where you're like, oh, God damn. Right? Good damn. There's definitely one situation when it came to a relationship that might not have been the bestest of ideas. So that was interesting. That was interesting. Um, and we get to this point of the book, and you're like, fuck, man, a lot has gone down, but what does this mean? And then the end, what we get at the end was just like, oh shit. Didn't expect that. Didn't expect that. And no. Yeah, I can't believe that oh man, the end catches you. Because yeah, you just don't really see it coming. You know what I mean? Because you kind of think the way things have built, it looks like it's at a certain place, and then things really get turned on their head. They really get turned on their head with the end, man. So yeah. People. I think if you've loved all the previous books, this ain't gonna let you down. And trust me, I cannot wait for the Trouble with Peace book 2. Book 2 in The Age of Madness. So yeah, very much looking forward to that one, people. I think we're gonna wait though. I think we're gonna wait because the last Alex Veras book has just dropped. So I think that's gonna be the next one. But yeah, a little hatred. It does not let you down. Which, oh man, that was so great. It was so great. It's good to be back in the universe.